started this work about 40 years ago. I'm celebrating 40 years to my new reality of sight. So I started this work 40 years ago because I was born with cataracts. And do you know what cataract is? Anybody? No, it's not. Anybody else knows what it is? I'm just really curious. You hear that word all the time. What is cataract? Do you know what is cataract?
Cataracts.
Very good. So what happens with cataract is not something that grows over the cornea. The lens becomes opaque. Okay? And what's the problem with the lens becoming opaque? The light doesn't get in. It bounces out, then you can't really see, right? Now I was born with it. It's unusual. Many people get it when they're 60 or 70. Do doctors cure cataract, you know?
They shatter the lens and put it artificial lens.
So they don't cure it, they remove your natural lens. I'd like to give you a warning about that. In the past, very far past, they used to give very thick glasses as after cataract surgery. Do you know why they gave them thick glasses? I'm talking about the 60s and 70s. Why did they give them glasses? Because they didn't have their natural lens, right? The lens is 16 diopters out of 64 diopters that we have, and you had a deficit in the strength that you could see, the diopters, which is a measure of strength. Then they gave them contact lenses. And then they gave them an intraocular lens, which really is not a lens, it's basically ocular, that they found the eye does not project. At first it was really good. They gave them intraocular lens with which they would see the distance, and from near they would need glasses to read. And then they started to become really funny about it. In order to satisfy consumers who didn't like wearing glasses, they gave them one lens with which they would see far and one lens with which they would read. And that is really bad. Because what you learn in the second year of medicine is that homeostasis is one of the most powerful tools of good life. Basically, having balance is important. When you suppress in the brain one eye that sees from near and one eye that sees from far, you create imbalance. Many eye problems can come from it, including glaucoma, for example, where there is lack of balanced use between the two eyes. So, one of the major principles of natural vision improvement exercise is balanced use of the eyes. So again, let me return to my case. I was born with cataracts, and I had two problems. One problem is that I couldn't see. Another problem is medicine did not know what to do with infant cataracts in my time. They knew what to do with adults with cataracts, because that they have done for 200 years. But they failed with infants with cataracts for 200 years as well. And that was because they had no idea of what you need to do with them. And here's what you need to do with them. My two kids were born with cataracts. And they were operated at the age of 2 weeks. Why 2 weeks? Because at the age of 8 weeks is when your brain wants to start to see. And if you don't see by the age of 8 weeks, you become blind for life. Doctors had no idea that's the case in my generation. But my 21-year-old son and my 18-year-old daughter were already born to a different generation. One more thing is, thanks to the fact that it did eye exercises, they improved the vision quite a bit. But I was raised reading braille. I had 5 unsuccessful surgeries where they scarred my lenses, and I was not operated on time. So between those two reasons, of not having a brain concept of seeing and having very, very poor surgeries, I ended up reading braille. what's interesting about my case, I'm a son of deaf parents. So I couldn't see and they couldn't hear. How about that? That was my childhood. And I was raised as a blind kid. My parents were admonished for not giving me a seeing eye dog because I ran into accidents again and again trying to cross the road. And I thought that that's going to be the reality of my life. People told me to get used to it. But then I discovered eye exercises. And what's interesting about eye exercises is that medicine is against them since their inception. Basically, since the 20th of the last century, medicine opposed eye exercises. And that's because in the 1800s, it's not a long time ago, in the mid of the 1800s, two physicists and one ophthalmologist decided that when the eye sees worse, it can never see better. That was their decision. Nobody retested it. Nobody relooked at it. Nobody wanted to know anything about it. And then consequently, we are being told generation after generation that you can increase your cardiovascular activity, you can increase your muscles, but you cannot improve your vision. That's what we hear. And if you look at my case, I started with 1% vision. I have a little bit more than 55% vision right now. I still have my blind certificate for good. And even though the DMV tested me in the morning, at night, in the freeway, everywhere, I have an unrestricted driver's license. Okay? So from being admonished that I'm walking without seeing eye dog or white cane, into being told to tell us when you drive near our street so we can get the dear ones out. And in fact, I heard that the bumps on the road are braille for blind drivers. So that's my story. I'm very, very proud of the driver's license that I got. I'm more proud of many, many other things. Just recently, I had an interesting thing with my daughter. She was born with cataract. She also had a microphthalmic eye, which means that her cornea is small. And in microphthalmic eye, they used to say, don't even operate because the small cornea, because most of the magnification is in the cornea. That's where the light bends. If you have a small cornea, you don't see well even if they remove your cataract. Well, they remove her cataract, her vision is excellent. It's a little bit under 20/20 with correction, 20/50 without it. It's a big story about my daughter. But the recent story was that when she was 12, her pressure went up. I did with her eye exercises and neck release. Because in that time, I believe that one of the reasons for high pressure in the eye is not having enough blood flow to the eye. In fact, there's a research that has shown that gentlemen in England that wear neckties prevent the blood from coming to their heads. So they get high pressure. Another research has shown that people who do light exercise, not heavy exercise, and bring more blood to their eyes, reduce their pressure. So I thought, wait, the whole thing about glaucoma is that you don't get enough blood flow to the eyes, and that's why you have high pressure. Well, I was able to reduce her pressure by loosening her neck. I will never forget that at the age of 12 and a half, she said, Daddy, my neck is looser, my pressure is down. And in fact, it went down from 30 to 25. And because she has thick cornea, when we measured 25, it's like 22, and that looked very good. So things went well, and all of a sudden, for different reasons, I think partially mental, partially others, my pressure went uncontrollably to 36. To tell you what blood pressure is 10 to 20, 20 to 30 considered to be high, and above 30 considered to be dangerous. What was really amazing in her case is it went up to 36 and she didn't lose iota of vision. She didn't lose even anything in the optic nerve, because normally that's what you look at, visual fields and the optic nerve. And I hope I'm not boring you telling all this, And yet, her doctor was very scared, very scared. You know when mothers wear, when kids wear sweaters, right? kids wear sweaters? When mothers feel cold, right? So when do we start to take drops? When do we start to take drops for our vision? When doctors are afraid for it. Not when something went wrong with it. When doctors are afraid for it. And sometimes it is more dangerous than you think. Now I had a case of Luciano, who came to me all the way from Brazil. I hope to see all of you in my 6th day I'd like to announce it right now. We're going to have it from February 23rd to 28th. And you're fools not to go there because people come from all over the world, write renting reviews for it. And the medical profession is scared of it. I invited people from Stanford, people from UCSF, people from UC Berkeley. They always say that professors of medicine were very happy with it. I have recommendation of the top professor of medicine in UCSF. And every single time it died in committee. Because if they would come and look at my classes, they will have to rewrite their textbooks. And boy or God, if I have my way, they will. Okay? Because I really know that vision can improve. So, Luciana, she came to me, she came to me from Brazil. And what was amazing is that she lost 96% of her optic nerve. Now, remember that every optic nerve has 1 million fibers. So when you lose 96%, you still have 80,000 fibers. Yeah? Normally, when you lose about 10% of your optic nerve, you have real fuzzy vision. You lose 25% and you're nearly blind. She lost 96%. She did my exercises in Brazil. She met teachers of my work in Brazil. And her vision was 20/20. It was a little spot of loss in her field. And I said to myself, what's going on here? My daughter got 36, pressure of 36, and didn't lose one single nerve fiber. Didn't lose any field. And there Luciana lost 96% of her optic nerve and didn't lose any vision. What's going on here? And then I got it. Luciana's family, 2 members of her family died from cardiovascular problems. And the nerve that was left was a strong nerve. And glaucoma is made out of 3 parts. One is the pressure, what doctors always talk about. Although some people lose vision at low pressure. It's called low tension glaucoma. Now most people lose vision at high pressure. Second part is lack of balanced use of the eye. And this is a statement you need to remember, that function affects structure to a great extent. Third part of the vision loss is lack of blood flow to the optic nerve. And what happened with my daughter is that I was scared by her glaucoma specialist and said, yeah, take the drops. So she took some drops. And the pressure went down, and then it went up, and then we didn't visit the specialist. A year later, I asked my daughter, do you still take your drops? She said, no, Daddy. I said, not a girl, but I'm happy you did that. So then she went to an optometrist on the way to a specialist. He measured her pressure, was 23. It went down from 36 to 23. And what happened was that she was the star in The Sound of Music. And so she took 2 singing lessons every week. She also did the eye exercises. But she had such a great release doing all of her yodeling and stuff of that nature that the pressure went down by 13 points. No medication, nothing. And her vision is excellent. What do you say about that? Wow. So we have to go back to the drawing board and ask what glaucoma is. Let me review what I'm saying. Lack of balanced use of the eyes, which leads to inner pressure. Pressure because of lack of drainage of the fluid. And also lack of flow of blood to the optic nerve. Basically, glaucoma is a destruction of the optic nerve. So that's one thing I wanted to tell you. It was one of the biggest things that happened in my life lately to see that my daughter lost her pressure without taking drugs. And for her, 23 is like 20 for anyone else because how it's being measured with the cornea being low. So 20 is in the borderline. It's not even a high pressure. Okay? I have many other stories, but I have only an hour. So let's talk about the principles of natural vision improvement. Number 1, deep relaxation of the eyes. As modern people, we put tremendous amount of effort in seeing. We have to find a way to not make an effort with our eyes. So the number one thing we must do when it comes into improving your vision, and you can improve your vision. Let me just say this. You can get rid of your glasses. You can see better. You can prevent a high eye pressure. You can prevent macular degeneration. You can prevent cataracts. Everything they tell you cannot be changed, can definitely be changed. You have to return to the drawing board. And so I'm grateful to you to come and hear me, because I need more and more people to hear me. I just want to tell you that I just signed a contract with a publisher called North Atlantic. They're carried by the Random House. And next September, we'll have my book, Vision for Life. I still don't have the subtitle, but it shows you how in many situations you can improve your vision. Right here in my booth, we have my book, Movement for Self-Healing. We have the kit for natural vision improvement. We have yoga for your eyes. So you can definitely come and get as many products as you would. Actually, did we bring it here? No, we didn't. What? Oh my goodness. Okay. All right.
I'm not flying.
Okay. So, number one, what I want to say is that we need to relax our eyes. That's number one. Number two, what we need to do is to adjust the eyes to different light frequencies. And I must tell you, against popular belief, I oppose sunglasses. Completely. I think that sunglasses is one of the worst things told to us that we should be wearing. Okay? What? Right, but that's something that you should see me for exercise. It will help you to do that. Okay? Okay, so I oppose sunglasses completely, and one of the reasons, and there's a few reasons why I oppose them. Number one, by wearing sunglasses, we're weakening our pupils. Number two, by wearing sunglasses, we're weakening the central part of the retina, which is called the macula, which is supposed to see in the light. So what the doctors are saying, wear sunglasses to protect your macula, they basically are having it completely wrong. Because in order to protect the macula, we must not wear sunglasses. So that's number three that I want to talk about. Okay? The next thing that I want to talk about is the fact that we need to adjust to the weakest of light, which means night light. And in my classes, my 6-day eye class and my training courses, as well, we have walks in the Golden Gate Park in Stolek, where the city does not spend money on light. And we walk there for about 45 minutes and we adjust to the dark. People for a million years adjusted to the dark. And now they don't look at the dark at all. And we turn light in order not to adjust to the dark. So the number one thing, and by the way, I'm going to let you start and do this minute. Oh, I can't. You know what? If you already have light, that's better. It's a daylight. It makes no sense to have those lights. Adjust to the dark. Okay. The next thing that I want to tell you is this. We need to learn to look at details. So many courses are on speed reading, on learning to look at a whole page at once, at a whole paragraph at once. Okay? So many of them. And we learn to not look at people's faces, so we don't look at details. And what happens is we lose the most important part of the retina, which is called the macula, with which we should be looking at details. And if we don't reach the macula and we don't look at details, eventually we lose our central vision, which makes us see way worse. The next point that I want to make is we need to increase our peripheral vision, and we need to create balanced use between the two eyes. One more important point. As modern people, we look from near to far. Even this room, which is larger than most rooms, is not as large as the park itself. It's not as large as the ocean. It's not as large as mountains or rivers. That's how our ancestors used to look. We're looking for miracle. Consequently, we're straining the eye, and especially the lens, because the muscles of the lens, which are called the ciliary muscles, contract very much to make the lens round, convex. What we need to do is to look at a distance to allow them to relax. And then there's a ligament, which is called the suspensory ligament, that makes the lens flat. And then we have a ligament in the back of the neck, which is called nuchate ligament, that relaxes as well. So we're going to do several exercises right now. I'd like to give everybody the biggest more time. Maybe if we can, we have more inside the suitcase. So can you please distribute it to your line? And move it forward. You can distribute it to your line. What? You can report me anytime you want. You don't look like you belong to the state medical board, you can do it. But even they can do it. Can you believe that the medical board once was trying to stop me from teaching classes, which are called yoga for your eyes? And in that time I called my state assembly, who was then John Burton, and he fought with them, and eventually changed the law. And that's one of the reasons that of law, the freedom act passed, because he was then the head of the state senate. But when he was an assemblyman, he asked them, "What are you doing exactly?" They dropped the investigation. I want to ask, how far do they have gone? Anyway, anybody else can definitely report. So, from this minute on, we have only about, what, 40 minutes for our lecture. No classes, no contacts, if it's possible. I want to give you the experience of improving your vision. How about that? Okay. So, are there more chairs here that we can give to the latecomers? Okay. I want you to see. No punishment for being late. Right. So, number one exercise I want to show you that's very, very powerful is called palming. Okay? Palming is, I just want to show you this. Anywhere I go, I take my palming stick. It's a collapsible rod. We also sell a bunch of them in the school. It's a collapsible rod, and I sit down and I put my hands over my eye orbits, and I relax my eyes when I do that. Okay. So here's the no for palming. Never ever put pressure on your cheekbones, and never raise your shoulders. So if you sit on a chair, I mean, best is to sit with this table actually. So if some of you can sit here, that's the best. And otherwise, you can turn around. Or the way that I use a chair is that I sit like this and put my hands around the chair like that. Because you're going to spend, the minimum that palming is effective is 6 minutes. So before we palm, let me show you something. How does this thing look to you? Can everybody read number 6 or 7? How about 8? All right. So I just want you to know, I mean, this is for legally blind people. This is for illegally sighted people, right? So anyway, yeah, please. Anyone who needs a page? No, no glasses.
What?
No glasses.
I can't see them without them.
That's good. Take them off. There we go. Now we're equal. Good. That's what you started with. The whole point is exactly that. Be courageous. Take your glasses off.
Okay.
You know So let me just ask you this. How well do you see this page? Can you see number 3, 2, 4? Okay. Stand up, everybody. Before we do palming, put your finger in front of you, and let's move from side to side. Anybody else needs a page? Let's move from side to side and think as if everything moves opposite than the way you move. You move to the right while everything moves to the left. You move to the left while everything moves to the right. Breathe deeply. And so again, look at your finger and comparing to your finger, everything moves opposite. So lift the opposite foot. You move to the left, everything moves to the right. You move to the right, while everything moves to the left. Breathe deeply, breathe slowly. By the way, have a seat. And let me ask you a question once you sit. How does the page look to you? Is that interesting or not? Okay, now rub your hands. Stand up again. Interlace your fingers. Interlace your fingers and move your arms. In rotating motion in both directions. Breathe deeply and breathe slowly. Okay, put your hands opposite. Interlace your fingers and move the arms in rotating motion in both directions. Rub your hands. And sit down, but again, those who sit on chairs, I would like them to sit like this. Put your hands ever so softly around your cheekbones. Do not apply pressure to your cheekbone. What happens is you actually are not relaxing the eyes. You may see more black, but you're not relaxing the eyes. And in some cases, it's even dangerous. Okay? So apply no pressure to your cheekbones. And these tables are low. It's good to put a few pillows on a table that size. In my school, I have a table that I have a pedal that makes the table go up and down for the size of the person. But that's what's good about palming. So you put the hands around the eye orbits, you visualize you're seeing darkness, maybe even blackness. Tibetan yogis used to do this for 1500 years, generation after generation. They used to wear black robes and sit in dark caves. And the vision was extremely acute. The eyes are closed. The eyes are closed. And anyone who wants to ask me a question, keep palming while you ask me that question. I'll answer it anyway.
I didn't hear what you were talking about, what you did with feet.
What I did what?
You said something about
Feet? I didn't say. What? Right now we can't talk about it because we're doing palming. Okay? So breathe deeply and slowly. And visualize that you're seeing complete darkness, maybe even complete blackness. Keep breathing in and out. In and out. Feel that the abdomen and lower back and chest and ribs are expanding as you breathe in and are shrinking as you breathe out. Make no effort. The minimum that this exercise has to be made is 6 minutes a day. The maximum depends on your neck and shoulders. If you're relaxed, you can do it for as long as you can do it. If you're tense, it's not worth it. So you have to do it only if you're relaxed enough to do it.
Can you do this laying down?
Yes, if you bend your knees and put a few pillows between your elbows and your knees, yes, you can. So the point is, there's two no-nos here. Never lift your shoulders up. Somebody told me your shoulders are not your earrings. And that means you're shortening your neck. Never put pressure on the cheekbones. You're blocking blood from coming to the eyes. And this is so different than sleep, because sleeping is passive. Palming is active. And you're doing it when you're completely awake. To just tell you something, the most I ever palmed was 11 hours in one sitting.
Wow.
But after that, I got my driver's license. But it took a whole year to prepare for it, of about 4 hours a day every Saturday, 2 hours a day otherwise. And then every other Saturday I had my blind group that met in a studio that I had in Kensington Street, in this city. And one time, a very strong Zen student came in. No one else came to that group, and we sat down and meditated and found, and after 11 hours, we saw it was 11 hours. We never thought it would be 11 hours. But we felt very light with the whole body. So now breathe deeply, and deeply means slowly, in and out through the nose. And feel that your abdomen and lower back are expanding as you inhale, and are shrinking as you exhale. Visualize and feel that your ribs expand as you inhale and shrink as you exhale. Feel that your chest expand as you breathe in and shrink as you breathe out. Imagine that your thighs, knees, calves, and feet, they all expand when you breathe in and they all shrink when you breathe out. Visualize that your arms expand when you breathe in and shrink when you breathe out. Make no effort. Do not tense up. Breathe in and breathe out. And you see darkness, maybe even blackness. And slowly take your hands off. And the next exercise I want you to do is blink. Open and close your eyes. Now, look at the page, by the way. See what you see. Stand up. Put your finger in front of you. Let's move from side to side. So there isn't really good enough sun spot. So we should go out. I want you all to take the page with you. We'll take the suitcase. Okay? And we'll go outside the room. And we'll take all the it depends on you. I don't know how safe it is or not safe. I wouldn't mind. So let's go outside to the sun.
I actually do not know. I don't even know if I could bring this outside.
Yeah. If you don't mind, some of the lecturers, some of the people who study lecture are leaving your things. If you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll watch it. But
Thank you.
Okay, what's this thing about balls? When I look at the ball from this side, do some of you have tennis balls?
Maybe if you can position it so you
Did we
can,
give all of them? Not yet?
sort of hard, I guess. Just do the best you can. Here, you can move it around.
are you supposed to be up to see it that way?
Okay. So anyway, when anybody who has ball, look at one ball from the left side and close the left eye.
Good.
You cannot see the ball, right? Look at the ball from the right side, close the right eye. You cannot see the ball, right? So what we're doing is, let's spread a little bit. And campaign many more people with tennis balls. Did we run out of them? So we'll share. So what we're doing is this. One ball, left hand, red.
have to go get it.
Throw it up and clap 3 times. Watch out for the ball! Thank you. Trips. Well, we just weeded out 25% of the group. Higher.
Playing games here.
That's a lot of coordination. Rhythm. No, I have my contacts in. Thought it was
Take the paper off. Take the paper off. Take the paper off.
Yeah, I lost my ball. I don't know where that went.
Took the paper off?
Yeah.
Now, tell me. How is the paper?
Oh, I can read after the first thing with the sun. I can read number 8. No problem.
I don't know. I can see some of the 8.
All right.
Before I could barely read 7.
Then we'll go indoors.
Yeah, it works.
I can definitely, I can see some.
Put your head all the way.
Well, just a few words.
to the sun. I like this
I
one.
kind of.
Turn towards the sun. Put your head all the way from side to side.
Is it eyes open or closed? Like this.
So we move the head all the way side to side. Quickly and slowly. Good, but we just don't have that much time. Okay, that's what we do. Feels nice to do sunny, doesn't it? So everything you've been inhibited of doing, please start to do. Everything you heard is right is wrong. 180 degrees opposite. Moving your head all the way from side to side. And if they'll ask you, how do you know it, you can say you had a crazy instructor. When it comes to the eye, the right, massage with the right eyebrow with the right. Let's go in, everybody. And put your hands around that. And no, it's not a good idea to pass it to one thing unless you have meditation. To pass it. Put your hands around the eye orbits. Breathe deeply.
But don't press on the cheek.
Do not press on the cheekbones, please. Turn the chair around. Don't sit like this because it's bad for your neck. Take the time. Breathe deeply. Breathe slowly. And visualize that you're seeing complete darkness. Maybe even blackness. Breathe in and breathe out. Feel your abdomen, lower back, and ribs expanding as you inhale and shrinking as you exhale. The palm, that's why we call it palming. We cover the cheekbones and the forehead. So it is the eye orbits, not the eye itself, but the orbits. And we visualize that we get heat and relaxation from the hands to the eyes. It's wrong to do the exercise if you're so nervous that the hands are nervous. The hands have to be more relaxed than the eyes themselves.
How about if the chair is cutting into your elbows?
That's not a good thing.
That you buy a palming stick for me. It only costs $20. All right, take your hands off, Mr. Complainer. Okay, all of you have a seat. And one thing is we're passing a mailing list sheet with everyone. We'll tell you about our triumphs, about our story. Can you pass it? Different sheets in different parts of the room? Otherwise, you're slowing it down. We have very little time left. Okay. Now, I want you to know that our school doesn't only work with vision. I just now, for example, worked with somebody with muscular dystrophy who couldn't go to the bathroom anymore. And a result of my work with her was 18 sessions. We did 6 triple sessions. She now can walk with help. I work with paralysis, with injury. And one thing that I want to tell you is about my April training course. You can come to train in my work. And if you want to know more about our work, visit our booth. I'll be there for the next half an hour, 45 minutes. And you can visit our booth at the exhibit. And you can get my book, Movement for Self-Healing. And unfortunately, we don't have the kit for natural vision improvement. And if you want us to mail it to you, you can just pay for it now and we'll send it to you. But we have Yoga for Your Eyes, which is very popular, and Meir's Vision. But what I want you to know is that the body has 600 muscles. Most people use only 50 out of them. And the ones that they use with tremendous amount of effort. And the effort leads to continuous tension and spasm. And the connective tissue hardens around that spasm. And it leads to less mobility of the joints. And eventually less mobility of the joints. Just a second, I hear the plastic. The less mobility of the joints leads to a situation which leads to arthritis and back problem. 1 out of 4 Americans have arthritis, which is amazing. Many people have back problems. I almost feel embarrassed to not have them. And what we really need to understand is that in the gyms and in athletics, people overuse the same muscles we always use and use them with strain. Athletes normally die young. Who dies old are orchestra conductors. They move with rhythm. So our work is both work of building up your strength, but number one, through kinesthetic or deeper awareness. So for example, we want to breathe into our lower back. We want to breathe into our abdomen. But we also want to move our toes. We also want to be able to move our fingers the way we never moved them before. The result of the limited motion that we have is that our joints are just not moving as well as they could. The two main reasons for back pain I'm describing in many of my workshops. There's going to be one on December 3rd, I think, the first Saturday of December. And we have brochures for that, again, in our booth. Is the main reason that we have problems is sitting a lot and walking with shoes on cement. Even this morning, I ran bare feet on the beach. And if you don't have the beach, it's good to walk on the grass in the park. I just want to give you an example of how limited your movement is as a result of the fact that you use 50 out of 600 muscles. All of you, put your hands here. On your hips. See me? Do this. Put the elbows together. You put your hands, put the hands on the hips. What I'm trying to say is that the trapezius muscles that I have between my shoulders are loose because I'm using the muscles in a roundabout way. I have stronger legs than most muscle builders do. I can lift a machine which is about 700 pounds many times. You have to see me holding the muscular dystrophy patient we have and running with her up the stairs, down the stairs. We have a few sunny days, so we put her on the deck, we put her on a trampoline. I have a 27-year-old student who was a boxer, a weightlifter. He was really surprised to see me at the age of 57, 30 years later, doing this. But what is apparent about my muscles that none of them sticks out like with muscle builders. They're very round because I work just as hard to run sideways and backwards. And so the work, you take weightlifters, they will lift weights just nice with their biceps, have them move sideways and they can't do a good work. So overusing some of your muscles at the expense of others is a recipe for disaster. Your nervous system would collapse as a result of it, i.e. we have almost 750,000 people with multiple sclerosis because they overload part of the nervous system and underload others. The brain doesn't develop as full as it could develop. The muscles become stiff, and the real solution and the real good exercises is to start and use what we never use. And in my training courses, and again, those who want a new profession, that's a very good way of going about it. Those who want to work on themselves are welcome to come for the initial training that we have on April 2nd. People come to me from all over the world. Here you are in the Bay Area. Come and work with me from 9 to 6 every day then. Come if you want to try me out on December 3rd or 2nd, whatever that date is. What? 3rd, December 3rd, Saturday. That's after my trip to Europe and before my trip to Israel. I want to teach as many people independence of drugs and surgery. You do not need drugs or surgery for your back pain. I can tell you, anyone who does surgery, there was one famous surgeon who said, all back surgeries are necessary except the first. And I really believe in that. That I think that the biggest problem right now when it comes into working on dealing with joints and bones is the medical treatment. And that's true about vision. You were discouraged of ever working to improve your vision. You were told you cannot do it, you were given glasses, and the symptoms got worse and worse. Well, I want to encourage you to work on yourself. I've seen the result, and I want to see you joining me. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. I'll meet you in the booth, and please take all the...
Yes, I got it. I'll take care of it. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Are you saying it's good to take